Hey YouTube, what does it take to start your own home-based 3D printing business? And what about creating and using your own STL files? Well, in this video, I hope to show you how I started my business and how I plan to navigate copyright laws and some of the potential pitfalls that you may have to avoid. Hey YouTube, welcome back to the channel. If it's your first time here, my name is Will and I am a 65-year-old man who has started learning Fusion 360 to create STL files for 3D printing to sell on Amazon as a print-on-demand items. So you want to know how I started my home-based 3D printing business. Well, actually, it's not as hard as you might think. Just generally have to go down to your local county and register your business name. And after that, as far as starting a business, you've started it. That's the hard part, is actually motivating yourself to go down and do that part. After that, you're just going to go home, and especially if you're doing a home-based business, and start doing business. For me, it had to deal with getting to the decision that I didn't want to sell some of the stuff that's already out there. I don't know where those STL files came from. So, and I don't really know if I can even sell them. So the same questions that I keep getting asked about STL files, you're already asking people who are already doing it. For me, I'm going to change the files so much and make sure that there's nothing else around that's like it, that I should be able to copyright those. And I'm going to sell them until somebody tells me that there's a problem. I'm not going to sit here and speculate or not do it just because there may be a problem down the road. The worst case scenario in the beginning is you're going to get a cease and desist letter. That's about it. You're not going to get sued right off the bat for $100 million because you changed the way a knob looks on something. Now, I can go through a lot of things when it comes to STL files, and I'll do that in just a few minutes. I've came up with some examples, and I'll just show you then. But as far as starting your own business, it all really depends on you. How much are you going to scale your business? Is it going to be, just a few printers and you're going to sell at the farmer's market, which is an easy, $500 to $1,000 a week added to your income, or are you ready to quit your job and move forward to a career working for yourself for the rest of your life? Because when you start a business, you don't start a business saying, I'm going to be in business for 5 years. What you do is you go register your business, then go talk to your tax accountant and see which way is going to be the easiest way for you to go. Will it be a sole proprietorship, which is how I'm starting, until I get to a point where I see that I need to be an LLC. There's no reason for me to go through all those steps just to get started. If you're not planning to have more than 3 employees, you don't really need a LLC. You can just run as a sole proprietorship. But the main thing you want to do is get motivated and start moving forward, because the longer you take, the more money you lose. So for me, right now, as far as I've gone in my business, I am still learning Fusion 360. I'm in the process of starting up my Amazon store, which is really not easy. I'm actually doing a video on it as we speak, but it takes so long because Amazon keeps coming back with something else I need to do. I had to re-verify with my license and a few other things to prove who I was, and now I've got to make my brand a brand and prove that it is my brand that I'm selling. So once that's done, I should be pretty close to listing my first files. I've got a couple of things already ready to go, from the MPPT mounts to the chuck mounts for CNC machines. And my latest one is going to be the track saw holders, and I have to go back to the drawing board on this one too. Come to find out that the bottom of the track saw is a lot thicker than the top of it, so this mount here is going to be too much. So I went back to the drawing board on it, and I've also added in a slotted area for the spring for it to spring back, and I've changed a few other things. So actually I've changed this thing for about 70 to 80%. The original part's just a hook at the bottom, and now it doesn't even look the same as it did before. So the next thing I do is once it's finished, or once Amazon's ready, I will upload those types of files up there, and I'll wait for somebody to purchase it. Once it's purchased, Amazon lets me know, and then I print the item and ship it out to them. It's a pretty easy business, to be honest with you. It's not like you're having to print 50 or 100 of them and send them to fulfillment, where they take it and then they'll divide it into a few different fulfillment locations and sell it in your area like that. You have to keep up with your inventory, and if your inventory doesn't sell, they charge you for storage. They charge you for everything. Actually, when you're in that type of fulfillment obligation with them. That's the reason I like the print on demand. $49 a month, I think it is, and if I don't sell anything, they don't charge me. So it's a good way to start, and I can always move over to fulfillment if I want to do that. So the only thing that's really holding you back from starting your business is you. All you have to do is take that first step. You will not regret it, I promise you. All right, so now copyrights. Now the copyright stuff is going to be a little chopped up as far as editing goes, because there is a lot to go over, and I'm trying to keep it as condensed as possible. I'm probably already 5 or 6 minutes in, and yeah, it's going to be a minute, but I'm telling you, it's worth looking at, because it's how I determine that I'm going to sell my files and the way I'm going to sell. But if you made it this far, if you would give me a like, if you're not subscribed and you think this content's pretty educational or whatever, I wouldn't mind a subscription. I appreciate it. The support of the channel here lately has just been phenomenal, and we just don't know how to react to it. So thank you very much. So on to copyrights. So to save time, I'm just going to read you this. It's basically what I came up with as far as how I'm going to pursue making my own files. So an underlying digital file. Underlying digital files. The original 3D file, which may be an STL or an OBJ or any type of file like that, is protected by copyright as soon as it's saved. Now using digital files. Now this is if you see somebody's file, and then you decide, okay, I want to do that, and you pull down the file and then you just alter it and then try to sell it as your own. Using downloaded files. If you download a file and modify it, it is still derived from the original copyright, and the copyright is still applies. Now on the other side of that, if you go and measure the item, that in my case, say the track saw, and you do all the measurements, you go to Fusion 360 and you sketch it out yourself and you do all the modifications, and it is a different item that does the same thing as the item that you looked at originally, then you are protected. And what it says here is creating from scratch. If you model something from scratch based on measurements that you measured and it's on your own concept, then consider it original work and you own it. So original models are safe if created from scratch, and even if it resembles another part. Modifying downloaded files is a risky business, from what I can read. So if you download a file and you change it, and then try to pass it off as your own, then you possibly will be pursued in some way. But as far as the 3D world, and as far as the STL files that I create, like I said before, I'm just going to get down the road and worry about that. I'm going to go ahead and create the files that I want to create, even though it resembles one other or another thing. I mean, it's the same thing as if as vases, right? If one vase looks like another vase, but if it's different in a way, you still can copyright it. So for me, a mount is a mount, a holder is a holder. And if you can change it in a way that it is beneficial to a person, and even an old person like myself, then you should be able to sell that file. So that being said, if you made it to the end, if you would give me a like, I'd appreciate it, and subscribe. It does help the channel. We're almost at 1,000. Isn't that crazy? Well, only 33% of you anyway show up to the end. I do appreciate that. And until Monday or Tuesday, I'll figure out something, and I don't know what I'll be printing, but I'm definitely printing something next time. Oh, it's the nylon carbon fiber, right? I gotta go set that printer up. Let me go do that. Thanks, YouTube.